All right, so those of you who are in Tennessee, guess what? House Bill 2689 is getting ready to pass. That is requiring paternity tests before you sign the birth certificate.
They want to get rid of no-fault divorce, which means that the woman has to prove infidelity or abuse in order to get divorced.
And with that being said, I have one little requirement. Just one little guy. Just one little thing.
Oh, God.
You gotta be rich.
I told my boyfriend that I am pregnant and I needed money to abort the baby. But actually, I gave the money to another guy that I love.
I ain't never seen a man that I fucking need. You're all replaceable. Don't ever get too comfortable and don't ever think otherwise.
Welcome back to Chow Time Pod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from Dating Right. The U.S. is moving towards removing no-fault divorce and paternity fraud. What? Guess who's not happy? Please subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. Let's get that chow. It's Chow Time.
Hey, what's going on, good people? In this video, we're going to be discussing the fact that we are finally starting to see some changes come as far as state laws changing to give men some type of protection. And I know you guys have heard about the no-fault divorce law that they're trying to get rid of nationwide. Women are truly going to start feeling the pain. So, we definitely going to get into it and break it down. I want to thank you guys ahead of time for hitting that subscribe button, liking the video, dropping a comment down below. Let's get into the review.
Now, they're going after your right to get a divorce.
Oh, ladies, welcome to the consequences of your own actions. Like y'all say all the time, we're in a patriarchy. That men control everything and we have all the power. Well, if that's true, did you really think we were going to go on letting you make divorce for profit an industry? We gave you all power. And don't get it twisted. You didn't get it. We gave it to you. But the problem is that power we gave you, you're abusing it.
That
so
is
now
true.
women are initiating nearly 80% of the divorces. And the vast majority of them have no cause other than you want someone else. And that's fine. I think you should have the right to do that. But I also think that if you want a divorce without cause, you shouldn't get a dime. You should not financially benefit for breaking your vows because you were bored. While I wish we could just make it so you get nothing when you leave, the courts would never allow that. So this is the next best thing. And ladies, look, I know you're not used to this thing called accountability, but I am very glad to see you're starting to. Enjoy.
No, yeah. If we can leave the no-fault divorce in, it's just that if you want to do it without any fault, you won't get anything, or you won't get everything that you want. That makes sense, right? If a woman leaves a man and there's no particular reason of infidelity, abuse, or anything, then she doesn't deserve all of that man's resources.
Listen, I think his data is correct. I've been researching it, and women do initiate far more divorces than men.
So Texas GOP has added to its platform that they want to get rid of no-fault divorce, which means that the woman has to prove infidelity or abuse in order to get divorced. And Republicans all over the nation are pushing for this in other state legislatures. So I would advise young women today to not get married legally.
Like, well, do women really want the reason just to be able to leave whenever they want? Is that it? Women just want to be able to critique to their emotions. If they're not happy, they want to leave. If they're happy, they can leave. Is that what they want? Because marriage is a solid binding contract made forever. Like, they literally says, till death do us part. Why are women so quick to be upset about marriage when they don't get any resources out of it? I thought it was just for the connection and for the family.
Have a ceremony. Have a commitment with your partner. Have a nice wedding, whatever, but do not trap yourselves into the confines of the law with divorce.
It's funny that women get so much benefit from it, and they're going to go about telling other women about this, to go about like this way, which is fine because this is how men have been operating very, very, closely nowadays. We're not going to get married. We know the marriage laws are against us. It's funny that even women think that it's against them, but it actually helps them out tremendously.
Because when we say that they're not going to stop with banning transgender care and getting rid of gay marriage and continuing to oppress people of color, they're not going to stop with marginalized groups. They are going to go after women, eventually men, but right now they're going after women. And banning no-fault divorce is the most ridiculous fascist thing I've ever seen. It's another way to trap women.
I actually don't even know what truly fascist means, to tell you the truth. If you guys can let me know down below, I'll read all the comments. But I'm like truly confused about fascists.
It's another way to control women.
Or at least how these women are using it.
And so, honestly, as a 41-year-old divorced woman, to the young
Of
women
course.
of today, don't trap yourselves. Don't file the papers. Just be in love and have a commitment.
So we tell you guys.
Men have been talking about this for years. You can have a wedding and a marriage. You just should not get your local states and county courts involved with that. You guys can make up your own contract. Agreement with you and her that if something happens to you, she can get power of attorney, the finances or whatever. There's a separate bank account going to be put aside for her, whatever she needs, whatever you both need to feel comfortable. Just don't involve the government state in your marriage.
I always suggest life insurance. Life insurance is a kind of a must. If you are well off enough to be able to afford life insurance, you should get life insurance. I happen to sell life insurance. I'm not trying to like push it or anything. I have life insurance. All my siblings have life insurance. When my mom passed, she had life insurance. So it really eases the burden of having to take care of things when you don't have to worry about the money.
It's really none of their business.
All right, so those of you who are in Tennessee, guess what? House Bill 2689 is getting ready to pass. That is requiring paternity tests before you sign the birth certificate. Because, when people do paternity tests, 1/3 of the time, they end up not being the father. And if they start testing everybody, that number can only go up, not down. It's going to be dramatic. And right now
It's funny when I see in the comments people argue the opposite. Like, oh, if it's going to be everybody, if it's going to go down because there's not going to... People really believe women. People out there still believe that women are rainbows and sunshine, that they don't do any harm, they don't sleep around. They really think that.
They're starting to also add in things like, maternity fraud is a crime,
Damn right.
a punishable crime. So guys used to go to jail for not paying child support on a child that wasn't theirs because the state wants to get their money, because if there is no father to pay for the child support, somebody has to pay for it. So they push it onto the nearest person that could be a father figure. And they're actually starting to jail time the ladies for maternity fraud because it is such a rampant crime.
So I don't agree with a lot that they do in politics, but I agree with this one. The hustle is over. The scams are done in the state of Tennessee. And I know some of y'all feel like, well, why should we have to do all of this? They should trust me, because y'all be lying. The women be lying. And if you know that this is his baby without a shadow of a doubt, husband, boyfriend, baby daddy, it don't matter who it is. Let them go on and get that paternity test, sis. If you on the up and up, it shouldn't bother you.
Exactly.
And for all of those women out there faking pregnancy to scam men, ooh, y'all big mad now, ain't you?
I think a lot of these ladies should be shaking in their boots right now, and I love to see it. Hearing that a lot of these laws may become nationwide, I know a lot of ladies are horrified that they'll be held accountable for their bad decisions and actions. What type of woman would lie to a man and say, this is your baby, and she know it's not his baby? But
like a lot of women, we want to say that it's like it happens to be like the most horrible of women that do this, but if 1/3 to more of women are doing this, it's not just the horrible women, it's a majority of women.
But she have a man thinking that this child is his and it's not. It should be a law for these women to con men. They should be prosecuted as well and charged with fraud or something.
Have you ever cheated?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Many times.
All the time?
I have. Yes.
Why?
Because we're bad bitches and we need to show the world.
So currently you have a main and some side
hoes.
It's like background characters.
Some
kind
side
of.
hoes. Okay.
Yeah.
How many background hoes do you have?
I was just like maybe 4.
So 5 guys total right now.
She's for the streets.
Somewhat.
That
Yeah.
you're
So, fellas, it's your lucky day because I am looking for a boyfriend. Yes. And with that being said, I have one little requirement. Just one little guy. Just one little thing. You gotta be rich.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I...
They want to get rid of no-fault.
So there's several states where Republicans are trying to get rid of no-fault divorce. If you're not familiar with no-fault divorce, this is the thing where you cite irreconcilable differences. Neither of us committed fraud, neither of us committed adultery or abuse or neglect, but we just don't want to be together anymore. So they're trying to get rid of that.
Get rid of no-fault divorce, which means that the woman has to prove infidelity.
But let me tell you why this is a problem, a big problem. As someone who just went through a very high conflict, 6-figure divorce in the state of Texas that was allegedly no fault, despite that there was infidelity involved that no one seemed to give a shit about. Did you hear what I just said? It was a no fault divorce. That means you're supposed to just split up the assets 50-50, right? Figure out what's going to happen with the kids. Like, it shouldn't cost 6 figures, right? Divorce is expensive. The only people who actually win in these situations are the attorneys, right?
No shit. This is what I talk about all the time. Like you're spending all this money and resources to fight for kids and fight for all these things when you could have just stayed together, saved all this money, and be much better off.
But what happens if you actually have to prove infidelity as a basis to be able to get a divorce? It's going to cost you even more money because now you have to go through the...
It didn't cost you shit because your husband's forking over the bill. This is so disingenuous. Most women do not have to fork over the bill when it comes to attorney fees because the attorneys are going to go after the husband for majority of the fees unless you are the breadwinner, which I'm highly doubting that you are the breadwinner.
The process of discovery to prove that there was infidelity, because I don't know how many cheaters are out there like, yeah, I did it. And sure, you may be able to recover some of your community property once you've done discovery, seen bank statements, maybe found those hidden credit cards. You're entitled to your 50% of the community property money that was spent on the hoe, right? But it's probably gonna cost you just as much to find out how much was spent on the hoe by having to do discovery. So you're not really gonna get anything out of it anyways, potentially. But I think the even bigger issue that is probably not being considered here is the emotional toll this will take on women and men, if they're the ones being cheated on, of course. When confronted with their credit card bills, when you were supposed to be on a business trip, is this you at this hotel at this time with this person?
It sounds pretty easy for you to prove that it's infidelity by what you just said right now. So it kind of negates everything you said prior because it's not actually that hard to prove infidelity. It doesn't cost that much. And again, you're not forking over lawyer fees. Usually the lawyer puts those fees onto the husband.
And then maybe you have to sit through a deposition with a bitch. And then you hear this bitch talking about how she was having relations with your soon-to-be ex-husband. That shit is traumatic. So in addition to getting rid of no fault as a basis for divorce, divorce is going to become more expensive and more traumatic. Therapists better get ready, and lawyers are about to cash in. Bullshit.
And the fact that permanent alimony was ever a thing is just mind-blowing. I know about the alimony payments that people talked about, but I didn't know it was freaking forever. If they implement all these laws in 50 states nationwide, I bet we see a change in women's attitude instantly. I bet they start talking different, they start listening, they will be humbled very fast. Looks like these women are gonna learn what strong and independent is today. Men
I'm gonna push against dating right on that one. I don't think it's gonna be that quick and easy because women don't feel those consequences. They're not gonna feel the consequences for a little while. So maybe another 10, 20 years, in my opinion.
I'm glad to see these laws being put in place in several states, but this need to be in all 50 states.
Damn right.
I'm gonna close this video out right here. If you want to see more